Right, we're live. We're live. Oh, listen to the seagulls. We're live. Let's wait for some people. Oh, we've got 12 people on already. Hello, everyone. Just wait. I'm just waiting for more than Let's get more than 20 on. But there you go. This is my mum. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there. So this is David, my dad, and my mum. So let's just wait for a little second. Let everybody kind of jump on. Can you hear these seagulls? Right.
Probably come from France, the seagulls.
Right. Okay, right. So let me just wait. We've got 15 people watching right now. We've got 15. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. Hope you're having a lovely Sunday. Hope that you treated your dad. Oh, shut up.
Go back to France.
Right. Okay, right. I'm just gonna start it. Okay. Philip has just said afternoon. Said good afternoon. So anyway, right, okay. I said that it was gonna happen at 1 o'clock today. A little Q&A session with this one, and you can jump in whenever you like.
I certainly will.
Right. Okay, let's start off with the first question. The first question is from Wood Nymph. Hi, Treacle. The first question from Wood Nymph says, the Great British government appeared to be complicit in this. Who is paying them, and what is the deal?
What do we think?
Who's paying who? We're paying the government. They have no source of income other than the people and businesses. So we are paying for all this bloody shambles.
Right. So
I think it may be something to do with Brexit, actually. It may be some sort of underhanded deal with the Brexit negotiations. I'm not sure.
We'll never
It's very fishy.
We'll never deal with the French. Certainly not with the fishing routes.
I'm not sure Liam should have included my husband.
All right. Okay. So you think that we've given them? I know that 28 million was sent to France in November, and I know since 2014, 200 million has actually been sent to France. So do you think the French are doing an efficient job?
Well, I did read that they've actually paid for 45 police officers to patrol 200 miles of coastline. Many of the coasts are sand dunes, and I think 45 police officers for how many £1 million? So they're obviously not, are they? Come on, let's face it. But if anyone's been to Calais and you come off the docks, we paid for all the wall that is built there. It is, isn't there? There's a huge
the wire fence,
huge wall. And I think it's made it more, I do think that's made it more difficult for them to come in. But they destroyed the jungle. The jungle was destroyed. And now they're assembling themselves further down the coast, you know. So that's what's happening. They're setting off in boats further down the coast. Now, everyone is saying they're people traffickers doing it. But I know that some of these migrants are actually buying their own boats. They're buying them from Germany, they're buying them from Holland. So what did they do? But 45 police officers to patrol 200 miles of coastline doesn't seem worth the money to me.
Well,
they're supposed to be employing drones as well.
Well, that's what it said. Callum Saxon has just said you don't need police, you need attack drones for the beaches. Right. Okay.
What we need is signs on the English coast saying "Welcome to France." That'll stop them.
Either way, next question from JP. This is from JP. Do you think that migrants should be put in a holding camp and not 4-star hotels and send them back to France to send a message?
I do actually think they should put in a holding camp.
Of course, obvious. Answer is obvious. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, I do agree with that. But the trouble is, we've got no agreement with France to take them back. And Priti Patel has tried to ask all the members of the EU to take them back, and not one EU nation has agreed that they'll help us.
Yeah.
But also, I think from her experience, knows that many of them are really quite legitimate, really fleeing from nasty places, not France, worse places than France.
Well, David, come on, be sensible now. Right, next one. Carol Kitely. Carol Kitely has sent a question. Do you agree that our benefit system are actually encouraging them to come?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. Why do you think they don't? Why do you think they all want to come to Britain? Come on. They get benefits, they get housing. This is just ridiculous. Why do we do it? Why do we do it? This government is actually encouraging them to come by the benefit system.
Well, free healthcare, free dental care.
Absolutely. Everything's free. And then to get allocated a solicitor. How much do you think that costs?
I don't know, you tell me.
And,
Well-
and an interpreter.
Oh,
Interpreter, solicitors, they have to register with the doctors, registered with the dentist, registered with school. Got 40-year-olds in school, registered in education, given all inoculations against the diseases kids have. So measles, chickenpox, whatever, they're all given that the minute they come here.
So Martin Smith has sent in a question, right? And you can have an opinion on it, but why do you think they're not escorted back to France?
Because the ship would have to, if we took them back, the ship would have to go into French waters, which they wouldn't allow anyway. B, we've got no agreement with France to take them back, nor have we an agreement with any other country to take them back. So can you imagine Border Force trying to dock at Calais and unload a load of illegal migrants? They won't have it. They just would not have it.
So, you know, with the explosive, do you think it's illegal that they're turning off their AIS, their transponders?
It is illegal. I happen to have looked this up. It is illegal.
Right.
To turn that off. Hang on, I've got something here.
That then poses a risk to other shipping.
No.
They use that to pick them up on their radar or whatever.
It's absolutely illegal to turn your AI automatic identification system off. It's a legal requirement for all boats apart from small vessels and yachts. This was made in 2004. Not having it on is actually breaking the law. They are breaking the law by doing that. And yesterday, they're doing it again. The French are also doing it, and so are the British.
So what do you think? Why do you think this is happening?
I honestly don't know, but I think for the people in this country, they need to write to their MP and say, we've got evidence here that the French are breaking their maritime law and the English are breaking the law. The Border Force is breaking the law. So how come they can get away with it? What can we do about it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. So anyway, from Martin Smith, another question is, he said people trafficking is illegal. So do you think the government and Border Force can be held to account for taking a part in aiding and abetting illegal action?
They should be. And I think with this information that they're actually breaking the law, the French are breaking the law, Border Force is breaking the law, then they should be taken to account. Now, Priti Patel was supposed to investigate this business of them going into French waters. That's what it all said in the papers. Have we heard anything about that? No, nothing. Nothing at all.
No. So why aren't they actually sent back to France, seeing as the international law says that this is from Martin as well, he said, why aren't they sent back to France, seeing as international law says that they should claim asylum in the very first safe country that they come to?
Because, as I said earlier, the French won't have them. The French won't have them, the Spanish won't have them. Germany won't have them. What are we supposed to do? They won't take them back.
And the Greeks, obviously, and the Italians, where they land, want to get shot of them. So do the French. Give them rail tickets, send them up to England.
I'll tell you something, when I worked with them, they were actually given rail tickets to get out of the country.
What?
Yeah, they were. They don't want them. And they were given rail tickets.
In
Move
Italy
on,
to get through
move
France.
on, move on, move on.
So you're saying that Italy and Greece are complicit in this invasion of this country?
Yes, they all are. They all are. Move on, move on.
And
what the French have in their defence is that if a French boat approaches the dinghy, they threaten to throw a child in the water, or they threaten to throw a migrant in the water if the French boat comes too close. Well, I'm thinking, do they speak French to tell the boat that's what they're going to do? Do they speak English? I mean, a lot of them don't have one word in anything. Say, right, I'm going to chuck this guy in the sea if you come any closer.
and that's what they're doing.
Well,
That's what they threatened to do.
what's happened is, let me just look here. With the French, they are using an old law which says they have obligation to rescue anyone distressed at sea. Okay? That's what they're saying. But what this coxswain, who used to work for the RNLI, is saying they're breaking their maritime law, because any boat of less than, let me see, let me just read this to you.
No, you don't need to read it. I did a stream yesterday.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, but you see it anyway. Okay, so these are the questions from the floor. I'm going to open it up to the audience. I'm opening it up to the audience. Any questions that you've actually got, right? Please just stick them in the chat and I'll say it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you a few questions because you have first-hand knowledge. You've been working with migrants for nearly 20 odd years, right? So, well, no, Mum, come on, you have.
Not 20 years.
No, but you've been a social worker for 20 odd years, and you've been working with migrants for Kent County Council. So, the fact that you
Not old enough to be working there for 20 years.
Oh, cheeky little D there. So, right, okay. I'm going to ask you, right, from the moment they step foot on British soil, what is so just take one migrant that you've worked with, right? Let's call him like Joe Bloggs, right? Let's call him Joe Bloggs, and he's not Joe Bloggs. You know what his name's going to be, but either way, right? You get a migrant that's put on your caseload, right? Who has landed in Dover, right? Okay. Now there are two separate Joe Bloggs here, but I'm going to talk about Joe Bloggs number one. Joe Bloggs number one is under the age of 18. What happens from start to finish before they end up in your lap?
Well, from the start, they go to the Border Force, and then they're interviewed with an interpreter, and they're asked how old they are.
Hang on, Babs, yes, it is live. Yeah, carry on, sorry.
They're asked how old they are. Now, they'll say, I'm 16, or they'll say, I'm 14. And then Border Force, I think I've said this before on channel, Border Force says he's 16. Your problem. You deal with it, you know? And these are guys with a huge grade Adam's apples sticking out of their throats. You don't get that at the age of 16, do you, really? Right? So then they're given to social services. So then I can only talk about what happens in Kent. So there's two assessment centres in Kent. One is in Ashford and one is in Cranbrook. So then they are taken to either or those assessment centres. Now, Ashford has an open door. They can go out. Cranbrook doesn't. Cranbrook, they're all locked in Cranbrook because it's in an area where they do adventure courses for kids and they can't have them wandering about when they've got young kids there. Okay? Then as a social worker for them, I have strict instructions by the Children Act as to what I have to do. They have to be seen within a day. Within 2 weeks, you have to make a care plan for them, and you have to write down what you want done for them, who's going to do it, and by what time. And in 2 weeks, you have a meeting with a IRO, which is an independent reviewing officer, and by Christ, you are under their eye to ensure that you have done your job. If you haven't, you're in big trouble. So you have to write a care plan. So-and-so needs education. So-and-so needs to know where the mosque is. So-and-so needs clothes. So-and-so needs contact with the Red Cross to try and contact his family. Huge big list of stuff which has to go on a computer. It takes forever. Now, Liam will tell you, he knows me when I was working there, because I spent so much of my day actually out seeing these guys, because I wasn't meeting national standards, filling on the computer, I'll be up till 4 a.m, ticking all the boxes, making sure I've done everything required by law. Okay? So then, when they're in there, you have to do a big assessment of them. And remember, you have to have an interpreter, and you have to trust that interpreter to interpret properly. About what? Well, this assessment means you have to find out about their family, about their childhood, about their education, about the place they lived, about how their parents punished them if they were naughty, any illnesses, any parental illness, any family illnesses. It took forever. It used to take me nearly 2 days to get all this information.
But also, how they actually got there in the first place.
Yeah,
How were they trafficked?
How were they trafficked?
How
What
was
was
it
their
funded by their
story?
parents?
What was their story? How long? Which country? What happened to them? Where's their mum? Where's their dad? You know.
So that's just one social worker for one migrant.
Yeah. But do you want me to tell you a story about a young lad and give people an idea of what happened to him?
Oh, if you want to, I'm sure people will be interested.
Right. Little lad, 12 years old, and he lived in the hillsides in Afghanistan with his mum and his dad and him. The Americans bombed, and when he got home, the house was bombed and his mum was dead. Okay? So then how his dad made his living was to go up into the mountains and collect all the scrap metal from the bombings, you know, and sell it as scrap metal. All the shells, empty shells, and take it into the town and sell it as scrap metal. And he had a tractor. So the boy's father went up into the mountain on this tractor and drove across an unexploded mine, which killed him. So this lad had lost his mum and his dad. So the uncle sold the land, sold his dad's land, sold that and paid a trafficker to take this boy here, to get this boy out and to bring him to England. Now, when I first met him, he was like this. He couldn't even look at you. He was so sad. But over time, he was put in foster care, and he was actually 12, right? He was put in foster care. And over time, his foster mum had a trampoline in the garden. So I went to see him, and we walked out in the garden to have a chat, you know. And then he got my hand, and he wanted me to bounce on the trampoline with him, which obviously at my age was a bit silly. But, you know, there are really genuine asylum seekers. The trouble is, what do we do to sift out the truth?
Yeah, it's just like when we film and it's just like one after the other. People, I don't think, get how much paperwork needs to be done, how much needs to be done behind the scenes to process each and every one. Then not just here and then it's like, all right, there you go, there's 4-star hotel, jog on with it. There is a lot of things that go along behind the back, behind the curtain to actually process and do it. And you were part of that.
I was for those claiming to be under 16. What happens to the adults, I don't know. But when they come in, your duty as a social worker is to get them a solicitor. You have to get them a solicitor. You have to get them enrolled with the GP. You have to get them into education.
Yeah,
you have to. Yeah. This is such pressure. And I saw the other day that Priti Patel was sending this master class out to do age assessments, social work. Well, let me tell you, one age assessment takes 2 social workers, 1 appropriate adult, and 1 interpreter. You can't test their teeth. You can't x-ray their bones. So what you do is tiresome job. You go through their story. First off, you do one thing. How many months did you spend here in this country? How many months did you spend in that country? What age were you when you got the Quran? You do all of this, and then you quiz them again and see if they're telling there's a difference between what they say.
So if there's a difference, once they twig that they've been rumbled, what happens?
Once they twig they've been rumbled, some of them have jumped the fence and run.
They abscond.
They abscond, yeah. Yeah.
Into where?
Into the ether. They jump out and they run. Other ones, I had to get a taxi to take them back to the Border Force. So we had to pay for a taxi to go and pick them up and take them back. But then they appeal against it. They appeal against the decision, and the poor social worker who said this guy is 21 ends up having to go to court.
Hmm. And then what happens?
And then how do you prove, in all honesty, if you can't do a dental check, you can't do a bone check, how does that poor social worker stand up in court against these solicitors? Right. They'll say, how did you prove this guy is 21, So go through everything, and then a lot of it just collapses.
So they get legal aid. So who's paying for the solicitors for them?
Well, we are, of course we are. Who pays for legal aid?
Yeah.
We do, the taxpayer.
No, you see, that's just this is information that I hope everybody. I've got 68 people watching right now, and everybody's saying that this is some very interesting information. Peter Smith has just said, why didn't the uncle take and care for his nephew? Why send away to a country thousands of miles away all alone?
Because he didn't want him. He didn't actually want him, and I don't suppose he could actually afford another mouth to feed. So he wanted a shot of him. But they paid thousands to these traffickers. They do actually pay thousands. And let me tell you something else. Some of these kids with the traffickers, they'd be held by the throat, nearly to strangle point, and the trafficker would ring the mother, and the child would be going, help me, mum, please help me, mum, please help me, mum. And then the mother has to send more money. It is so sad. I tell you, I've heard some horrific journeys of these kids.
So can you explain the demographic? Who are these traffickers? Who are they?
God knows. I honestly do not know. I honestly do not know who they are.
You said to me the other day most of them are Albanian.
No, darling, I don't know who they are. I wish I did, and I'd shop them, But they do. They take thousands of pounds off these people, of the parents of these kids. Yeah, thousands. They have to sell their land. They have to sell all their goods. They sell everything and get their sons out. Well, why is that? Why is it always sons? Why?
Well, you said something about being a fighting age and escaping military service.
In Ethiopia, yes.
And Eritrea.
Sorry, I meant Eritrea. I don't know about Ethiopia. Eritreans it's all about national service, and they get asylum because this government says their treatment is against human rights. They just get it automatically. But let me tell you something else which used to make me cross. When they are here, right, and they used to go into houses. They were found houses, shared houses. Do you know what? I want computer. I want computer access. I want internet. I want school. I want football club. I want football shoes. I used to go to uni with them. I want television. I'd say, what? What are you on, you know? They used to get a right dressing down from me, I tell you. Cheeky buggers.
All right. So, what is it? Trevor Renner said, no wonder they don't want to be in an army camp. Of course, because they've been promised everything, haven't they?
Well, they have, but I don't know about the adults, but, you know, that army camp.
What, Napier?
To me, Napier, I know you sent me all the information that it scored 4 out of 5 when it was investigated about being suitable. Yeah? Now, you need to think to yourself, if your story's true, I'm fleeing being bombed, I'm fleeing for my life, you know, I'm going to get murdered, I'm going to get killed. Right, so you run away and you eventually land in Napier Barracks, where you've got a bed, you've got 3 meals a day, you're warm.
Shower.
You've got a shower.
You're free to go and come free to go and come as you please.
Excuse me, am I being stupid? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with it?
And they get money.
And pocket money. And pocket money.
45 quid a week.
Some of these adults, for the kids, they used to get £10 a week. And then they'd be taken into town to spend their £10 a week.
But they go to Tesco and they buy beer and bags and stuff.
I know they do. It's just, it is so annoying. You know, but what I worry about is that some of these poor people are genuine in amongst the thousands that are coming through. And some of them are absolute criminals. Absolute criminals. And that's the worry. We've got risk here with who's coming in. We don't know anything about them. And they're coming into the country. So when are we next going to have somebody beheaded in the high street? You know, that's the worry. There is no security enough to filter them.
No. Well, anyway, I said that it's just only going to be a half-hour stream. We're coming up to half an hour. So if anybody's got any more questions, you've got 2 minutes, because we're not going to stay. I'm sure people would love to watch you all day. But it is, you know, you're the only reason I started my YouTube channel was because of what you do, what you say, and how you actually do it, and seeing how it was actually dragging you down with your mental health. You're up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doing. But at the end of it, there are some really nice people that you have worked with.
Yeah.
There are some really nice people that I've made friends with that have come across the channel. But there are the majority, unfortunately, are economic chances. Would you agree with that?
Well, the majority, I'm afraid to say, are more than economic chances. They're just here to run away from whatever they've done in their own country.
Oh, that's a big statement. That's a big statement. Anyway, guys, thank you all for joining in. And happy Father's Day to this one.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to this one. We are now going to just sit and enjoy the sun and have a nice afternoon. So there you go. Thank you very much, you guys, and thank you for your insight.
Oh, you're welcome.
And say bye to everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.